Hello, everybody. Welcome back to the newest episode of the Theatre Enthusiast podcast. I would like there to be a day where I interview somebody and I don't say it in a dramatic way, the Theatre Enthusiast podcast, which I just did. Anyways, luckily my guest is laughing at me at my joke. I'm so delighted to welcome our next guest. They just completed their run as Nancy and Oliver on the West End. You can't do it without doing a British accent. They are an actor, they are a singer, they are award-winning producer, they are a songwriter, they are a co-creator of Musical Con, which we will talk about, which I'm very excited to talk about. Anyway, please welcome Shanay Holmes. Woo!
Oh,
I
thank you.
I just had to say, I was saying to myself, I hope I'm saying her name correctly. And then I was looking at your Instagram and you have a clip of Elaine Page saying your name and then introducing you singing something from Oliver. And I was like, this is great. And I have been saying it correctly. And and I'm like, Shanae is probably losing her mind that Elaine Page was like, here is, again, terrible at British accents, but here is Shanae Holmes. Oh, hi, husband, closing the door behind you. Um, Singing this song from Oliver.
Yeah. Well, I think actually, yeah, the pronunciation was slightly that this has been my the story of my life is the mispronunciation of my name.
Mhm.
But it's said as it's written, Shanae, so you got it perfect.
Shanae. I like how you say it. Shanae.
Shanae. But
Shanae.
you
Like,
know, I
yeah, I love it. If it
I
makes me feel better, I'm Allison with one L, and the joke in my family is that my aunt still spells my name wrong, and she'd
double
known me for my whole life, so it's fine.
I found out strangely that often people mispronounce my name as Shaney, but I've been mispronouncing the iconic Nancy of the Oliver movie my whole life. I say Shani Wallace.
Hmm.
Her name is Shaney Wallace.
Oh, wow.
I never wanted to say Shaney because I thought, no, surely it can't be Shaney, but that's how you pronounce her name. So that's a weird bit of trivia.
That's
That
it's funny too, because I have a very good one of my closest and dearest friends. Her name is Shayna. So
lovely.
you're kind of in the same vein of Shayna, Shanae, Shaney. Wow, we can just go on, but we'll stop. How are you? Thank you for coming on to the podcast.
Well, thank you so much for having me.
Of
I'm very
course.
well.
Yeah, of course. So I always like to start from the beginning. Where are you from?
I am from, we were just talking about this, Buckinghamshire. And it,
Buckinghamshire. Sorry, if I break out in terrible British accents, it's only because I love how you're saying things. And saying Nancy from Oliver is just so much better than just my American New York accent,
we
which
get that.
yeah, people think I'm from the Midwest, which is weird. I'm not. Yeah, like Nancy and Oliver or Nancy and Oliver. It sounds so much better.
You're doing Bridgerton, Nancy and Oliver, but we need to get you into Cockney territory.
And do Nancy and Oliver.
Yeah, that's right, Nancy.
Dirty it up a little bit. Nancy. There you go. I feel
Perfect.
like we should do a drinking game. Every time I say Nancy in some sort of accent, we should just take a drink. And if
Yeah,
you're over 21, it's allowed to be alcohol, no drinking, driving. Well, I don't know, UK, your drinking age is different.
yeah. Ours is younger. I think it's 18.
Yeah,
Perfect.
I have no idea. I'm American. So anyway, I was in London 2 years ago. I would live there if I could. Yeah.
Well, we can swap. We can do like what they do on the holiday.
Can we? Oh my God.
I'd
But you
love to.
already have a husband, so you're not going to fall in love with the Jack Black. I mean, I wouldn't mind falling in love with Jude Law, but and you told me the area in which you live in, so that kind of works out.
Yeah, we could do it.
Yeah,
I
I
don't.
mean, I do live in a studio apartment though, so it might be a little bit different from from whatever is
I
happening for Cameron Diaz or Kate Winslet.
I feel like that's the dream. I live just near the Cotswolds. You can come here. I'll have the studio in New York. I would love that.
Yeah, and I'm in a really great location, especially if you're a theater person.
Oh gosh.
Yeah, I don't really divulge I always say I'm on the cusp of Hell's Kitchen where I live because I'm within walking distance to everything in
Oh,
that area, but far enough away from it. It'll be great. Yeah.
That's the dream.
I can't wait for our holiday swap.
Yeah, let's do it. Let's
Yeah.
not even joking.
Yeah, I'm here for it. I would love to be in the UK for the holidays. Like the dream is London and Paris for the holiday season. Like how it's a lot of people's like dream to come to New York for the holidays, but mine is like go to London, go to Paris and like look at all the holiday stuff and just live there.
This is we could definitely do the direct swap because mine is Home Alone 2 when he gets lost in New York. That feels like my whole idea of what Christmas should
Yeah.
be.
Yeah. But like I will say it's the thousands and thousands of people that kind of ruin it, but the idea is still wonderful.
Okay.
But I'm also a jaded New Yorker, so there's that. I don't want to ruin the fantasy for you. I will say
Okay.
though, I really do love the holidays and like in New York during the holidays is like really magical. So I don't want to like turn you off from that.
Oh, I love I my husband actually proposed in New York a week before Christmas. And it sounds so when I say it, particularly to Americans, they I feel like they want to roll their eyes like that's so it's almost like saying becoming engaged, you know, on London Bridge or in front of the Eiffel Tower. But in my mind it was like the
Yeah.
perfect moment. I
Yeah.
loved it.
Where in New York did he propose though? Did he do it on the ice skating rink?
No, nearly. He did it in a horse and carriage, horse and buggy.
That's so cute. Now, I will say though, there is like, if we're gonna do like real talk, by the way, we do this on the podcast, like we totally get sidetracked, and I forgot to mention that to you before we start. I feel like, I mean, I'm also like super single, so if there's any good-looking straight guys out there, let me know. And I feel like I say that every podcast, so that's just me putting myself out there. Um, I feel like there are some places that are just like the cliche, like proposal stuff. And it's mostly because like you see it everywhere on social media. But like on the horse and buggy, you don't really see that much. But like you see it a lot in the ice skating rink. You see it a lot in front of like the castle in Disney. You see it a lot in front of like the Eiffel Tower. Like, so I understand. So like yours wasn't cliche, but it was a little.
It was a little, but I was obsessed with it. It was my dream.
Yeah. And that's what you got, and that's amazing. And I'm not here to dump on it because I love it and I love romance. And if yeah. Anyway, back to you. So you what got so I know that you've said that you were kind of like a late bloomer into like performing and you don't have really the normal training that a lot of the performers out there have done because you've trained on the job.
Yeah.
So when was it for you? Like, I don't want to say like your aha moment, but I guess that's kind of what it is. Like, when was the moment you realized, like, yep, I'm musical theater, performing, all of these things is for me?
You know, it's one of those things that I'm learning that I'm still not sure the aha moment has come for me. Um, I always describe it as I fell into it. I always knew that I wanted to sing and I
Mm,
had to express myself that way. And it didn't matter what area I would do that in, but that's something that was calling that I really had to find for myself and lean into and discover and give my all to. It was only because I went to an open audition for The Lion King that I kind of ended up getting into musical theatre. I'd
mhm,
always loved musicals and musical film, especially. Um, I just saw myself more as well, I kind of put myself in my own box in terms of being just a singer.
mhm,
And I slowly discovered throughout my career actually, I love acting just as much as I love singing. And
mm,
what I love the most, what I think is so powerful that I'm learning later in my career is that actually what my skill set is acting through song, particularly in emotionally charged roles. That is really where I feel most alive.
mhm,
Um, and so it's there that I find myself now,
mhm.
particularly in the last three or four roles. They all seem to be, really, really emotional and dramatic with difficult storylines, complicated storylines. And but I kind of love that, and that gives me a huge sense of purpose, and I feel like I can really connect when I'm in those roles.
Yeah, because you talked about it too, especially again, like I said, I don't know Oliver like super well. But I know that Nancy is in an abusive relationship, and that you've also talked about like that one scene with that one particular song that I am blanking on in this moment, and how you just so pretty much like everything you're saying is just like in this one song where she's talking a bit, it was some like Bill, I'll never leave you or something.
As long as he needs me. Yeah.
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 Yeah. Do you want to talk about that a little bit?
Yeah. As I mean, as long as he needs me is so famous. I think it's one of those songs everyone knows. They kind of that you feel the audience wait for that moment,
Hmm.
particularly when they hear the chords come in.
Hmm.
Um, it's been made famous by some of the biggest female artists in the world,
Hmm.
one of whom I'm obsessed with, which is Shirley Bassey, um, and Judy Garland, and I mean,
Yeah.
everyone, every theatre vet has wanted to or has covered that song. But my challenge in this role particularly was to really understand why we were telling this story in 2024, 2025,
Hmm.
what that means for a woman now, what that meant for me as a woman.
Hmm.
And the song is written so beautifully, but sometimes you can kind of get lost in that amazing melody and that huge orchestra, and you don't really listen to what Nancy is saying.
Yeah.
I really wanted that to be a moment where the audience come away and they're talking about that moment, or they're talking about it and discussing it later, because it's really important to discuss. It's a beautiful musical, it's a fun musical, it's Oliver.
Hmm.
But my job was to ensure that every victim of domestic violence had a very truthful and honest portrayal of something in that moment. And I hope that I
Hmm.
achieved that. But it was important to me to really present that as an actor truthfully and honestly.
Yeah.
So that people weren't like, why is she singing this? Because a lot of
Yeah.
people say they don't understand it.
Hmm.
But I think actually, when you just look at the text of As Long As, you really discover, for me personally, who has experienced um, domestic violence, um, you can really see the way it's written. It's fully a woman who is on the verge of, she's been hit publicly for the first time. So there's shame wrapped up in that, and there's humiliation wrapped up in that, and there's something that the character of Nancy, I feel, wants to protect. It's almost like she's left alone on stage for the first time,
Hmm.
and the audience gets to kind of hear this inner monologue.
Hmm.
And then from that moment, the audience kind of watches her go through this rationalization of thought, which is, her talking about her self-worth and the fact that she feels that she is worthless, and that actually everything is tied up in Bill needing her. And as long as he does that, she will stay. And that kind of feeds into the psychological aspect of what victims go through.
Hmm.
And I wanted that to be really clear
Yeah.
to the audience. So even if they didn't understand it,
Hmm.
they could really empathize and have a little understanding of, okay, I see the process now.
Hmm.
If it's something I feel like if you haven't experienced, maybe it's more difficult to understand.
Yeah.
Um, and there's this whole thing of victim blaming where people will say, why didn't you leave? And what I really wanted the audience to receive is that abuse is something that doesn't just happen physically. It happens emotionally and it happens psychologically.
Mhm.
And I just wanted to really access that and make sure that was in her character.
Yeah.
Uh, Hopefully, I did
Yeah.
that, I achieved that.
Yeah. So I don't know what the stage door experience is like in the UK compared to, well, I will just say New York. When I was in London, I did stage door twice. Once to like try and get one of the actors on my podcast, which never happened. But I did get somebody from that show on eventually. And then another show I saw, I actually had already interviewed somebody for the podcast, so I just wanted to say hi to them after. But with what you were just talking about with the Nancy and what she goes through and what you were trying to relate to the audience, did you have anybody come up to you after the show or maybe just in passing, being like, "Oh, I saw the show on this day." What have been the reactions to your portrayal of the character?
Yeah, I think it's been overwhelming and it kind of makes me emotional thinking about it
But
because
you can cry. We've cried on the podcast. I've cried on the podcast. It's fine.
um
Here,
it
I'll even do like some water. There you go.
it's been kind of amazing because you know, there's one particular memory that I have where I fell to the floor and there was a lady sat in the front row and she gasped. And I couldn't look at her in that direction because I'm in character, but I could hear everything because when you're in the front row at the Gilgood, you are super close. And I could hear her partner comforting her, and the whole way through the first verse, Nancy is like on the floor, and then I get up and I move to the barrel, and I could see her in my peripheral, but she was triggered. It's a highly triggering thing
Mhm.
to watch, and I could hear her, and I could hear her crying, and I could it got worse and worse. The more upset the character got, the
Yeah.
more upset this particular lady got. Um, And when I finished the song, again, I couldn't directly see her, but I could see in the peripheral that she stood up. And I didn't get to meet her at stage door, but I just remember coming off and feeling very, very, very emotional about it because it was just kind of really, I'm not sure of the wording, but it was just incredible to, as horrific as it was, that what she was watching
Yeah.
was,
Mhm.
it was something that resonated with her and that she could feel, and it was almost like, you know I'm almost like, you forget sometimes when you're acting, this is a real
Yeah.
thing people have received and experienced, and you know that there is a connection there. With that, there is something that's being portrayed that people are watching, that
Mhm.
have experienced in real time, or maybe experiencing at that moment, or
Mhm.
have a history, or have observed.
Yeah.
And so you have a responsibility as an actor to really approach that in such a respectful way. But I just remember coming off stage and feeling so emotional about it because sometimes you forget, you can kind of get into, when you've been in a role for over a year, you get into this rhythm
Mhm.
times where almost you kind of get into an autopilot state.
Mhm.
So my kind of goal was always to never have that autopilot state on, but to always feel like I was experiencing it for the first time. Um, but yeah, I think women have, I've received hundreds of messages, particularly from, younger generations who are playing Nancy now in their school productions. Um, and I think it's really important for women to be aware of that issue as a whole,
Yeah.
um, because it is it's as relevant in 2025 as it was,
Yeah.
in 1830. Um, it feels like so distant that you're watching this Dickensian
Hmm.
story, but this story is so real for women right now.
Hmm.
Um, and yeah, like I said, I can only hope that I have, played her
Yeah.
fully.
Yeah. Well, that's also what I love so much about theater. I've always said I love an audience reaction. The
Mhm.
most recent show that I've seen where the audience reaction is just like chef's kiss was there was this play on Broadway for like 6 months called John Proctor's The Villain.
Oh yeah.
And yeah, and I do merch part-time at Broadway shows, and that's one of the shows I got to work at. So I got to watch it a couple of times. And just the reaction that people had to different things happening in the show. And I remember even when I was in college, I directed a production of this play called How I Learned to Drive. And it deals with inappropriate behavior.
Mm.
Um, and there was this person sitting in front of me, the final performance, and the show was very much affecting them as well.
Oh,
So, and that's just kind of what I love about theater is just it kind of also holds a mirror. And even something like Oliver, that was even written in the 60s about the 1800s. And I was just talking to somebody the other day. There's this revival of ragtime coming. I don't know if you know of ragtime.
yes. Yeah,
I
love
was
it.
gonna say like you should look into it. You should be in it. Just putting it out there. We manifest on this podcast, Shanae. So we can manifest ragtime for you. They'll extend the run. You'll come to New York. You'll replace someone. It'll be great.
Is it Joshua Henry? Is it Joshua Henry? Am I right? Is he in it?
Joshua Henry, Brandon Uranowitz
Uh, yeah.
at my
Wow.
favorite Broadway theater. I okay, I apologize if you're listening to this podcast and you heard me like word vomit this whole thing the whole time. I've been talking about wanting ragtime at that theater at Lincoln Center for years with Joshua Henry and Brandon Uranowitz, and it's actually happening. And I'm going first night of previews.
Wow. You must.
So I'm I I'm even joking like, should I buy waterproof mascara? Like I'm sitting front row center orchestra. Like it's real.
Wow. Yeah.
Yeah. I totally forgot the reason we were talking about these things. Oh yeah, I was saying something like ragtime even. How because when ragtime was at City Center, so it's a City Center production they're bringing to Lincoln Center. It was around the election.
Right.
It was before and after the election. And even watching it now, it's so relevant still. And the stories from like 100 years ago. It's
It's
just, it's wild. And that's what's so incredible about theater.
yeah. Art presents topics that are really difficult that you go away and you go, hey, I watched this and I never thought about that before.
Yeah.
Or, you have families that come to watch it and there's difficult, difficult subject matter, and you speak about it. You say, so many people that come and watch the show that say, I never knew that Nancy dies.
Yeah.
And that's Oliver is such an
We should
amazing.
have said spoiler alert. Anyway, continue.
But still, it's you know like I said, domestic violence, violence against women is such a huge, huge, huge problem right now,
Hmm.
um, and it always has been. It's still such a big, big challenge, and the fact that people can come and watch, like you said, a story that's set in the 1800s, and it be relevant now, and that art can provoke a conversation, important conversations about it. I
Yeah.
think is why art is so
Mhm.
beautiful.
Yeah. Well, this is a reimagined production of Oliver, Cameron Mackintosh production. Have you seen previous Olivers compared to this one?
I have, I've only watched the film.
Okay.
My only introduction and experience with Oliver previously to the show was the film, and my family watch it every Christmas. It's just like a given.
Yeah.
Watch Oliver, um, and Shaney Wallace's performance as Nancy, and that is so beautiful.
Mm.
Um, I think with this production, the kind of dream of it was to take the spectacle out of the show and to really put it back into a playhouse, make it much darker than it had previously been, um, make the scenes more prominent and because it's Charles Dickens,
Yeah.
it's it's dark,
Mm.
it's dark, and I think, like I said, I don't think they wanted to shy away from the really serious subject matter of the piece, but also, then you have these amazing joyous moments which are like consider yourself, and
Yeah.
this whole gorgeous set and amazing choreography, and it's just, yeah, I think
Yeah.
it struck the balance
Yeah.
of that.
Yeah. Sorry. I was like, oh, she'll love it because I have like sirens and everything going in the background of my apartment. I'm like, oh, Shanae would like this. She's like, oh, New York, it's great. Um, to kind of just go back a little bit more. So you didn't open, I again, we go all over the place with this podcast. Welcome. It's great. It's fun. We're here. We're living. We're loving. Um, what was the first professional show that you did? Because you said you went to an open call for The Lion King, and then
Yeah, so
what happened?
so I went to open call for The Lion King, and I thought, I'm going to give it a try. And there was an amazing casting director, very well-known casting director there, called Pippa Alien, and I got all the way down to the last two Nalas in the mix, and I did my final, and she came out and she told me in person, like, look, you haven't got the job. Um, and I said, okay, thank you so much. Could you do you think you would have the time to introduce me to some agents? And she said, yes, yes. And I thought, oh gosh, I'm going to call on Monday and they're probably going to not know who I am. But she had 10 agents ready to go
Wow.
to wanted to meet me that her office had reached out to. Um, so I went and met with them and I got my first agent. And then 3 months after, I was in my first West End show, which was Thriller Live, which was based on Michael Jackson, who again I love.
Yeah. Which I saw that you went to the opening of MJ the musical.
And I'm a fan. I'm a big, big Michael Jackson fan.
Yeah.
Just no getting around it. I
I'm going to
was.
be working at MJ all day on Saturday. I will think of you.
Oh my gosh! I'm just honestly, my very good friends Amari Douglas took me to the opening night,
Mhm.
and he actually called me when he was in Broadway and he watched Mars Frost
Yeah.
Broadway, and he sent me a voice note and said, have you seen or heard MJ the musical? And I was like, no. And he was like, Shanae, you're gonna lose your mind. And I was like, yeah, 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 yeah. I must have stood and gave Miles Frost about six standing ovations. I couldn't breathe
Yeah.
most of the time.
Yeah.
Oh,
He won the Tony for it.
oh my God,
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah. I know he was nominated for an Olivier, but the guy from Benjamin Button won, I believe.
Yes, uh,
I can't
John,
think of his name. It's yeah.
John Dalglish, I think. I hope I'm saying
Yeah.
that right.
I don't know. When I was in London, I saw it off West End, and I saw when Jamie Parker did it.
Okay, what
Yeah.
did you?
I honestly, it was my favorite thing I saw there. It
It's
was
I love.
incredible.
It's it's the cast is so incredibly talented. Actor Muso, I
Yeah.
mean,
I mean,
story.
even though they're like lead, roles, it's such an ensemble show too. And I even said to myself, like, I wonder if this will ever play in New York. And I feel like it's probably inching its way, depending. But yeah, I said to myself, like, I wonder if this will ever come to New York. And if not, I saw it off West End. And now it's like this big West End musical. So I could be like, I saw it when.
Well, it won so many Olivier Awards. It was people love it. I mean, it's beautiful, beautiful show.
Yeah,
Uh,
it was I mean that and no, I think Eddie Izzard's Hamlet I enjoyed more. But yeah, I saw Eddie Izzard in Great Expectations when I was there as well. Uh but yeah, it was my favorite thing I saw in London.
Oh, honestly, I think who was I talking to about it? I think it's Todrick Hall, and he was like, "I've seen it like 8 times. Like he's
Yeah.
keeping going back and seeing this the show. He's absolutely obsessed, like super fan."
I'm waiting for Todrick to bring Burlesque to New York so I don't have to spend the money to go to London to see it because I don't have any money.
Incredible show, incredible. I loved it.
Oh yeah, and you have Orphe as what's her face as Tess?
Amazing,
Ragged Will Watusi. I mean, come on.
amazing.
Yeah, and that's like nothing against Jackie Burns who did it originally, and I love Jackie Burns, but like when they're like Orphe is like that is correct.
I mean, I watched it, and I have to say, I hadn't heard Orfeh before, and my jaw was on the floor.
Yeah, she's incredible.
Wow.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, I love that show.
I also just love how we're having this moment where we're just like nerding out about theater.
I'm such a theatre nerd.
Me, hence why I have this podcast. What else, like, what else do you want to nerd out about?
I'm such a big nerd.
Yeah.
It's really, I think I'm like, I'm very stagey in one way. I'm not stagey in the other way. It's just like I'm not. I wouldn't.
Mhm.
I'm not your typical, kind of Wendy. I don't think, but I am a big geek when it comes to like the musicals that I love. Like Rent is my all-time favorite musical,
Yeah. Yeah.
and so anything to do with that
And
show.
you were lucky enough to actually get to perform in it.
Oh my God. And the story of me getting that musical.
Oh, I'm seated. I have my hot priest mug at the ready. Let's go. Oh, and it says Neil on the back, by the way. I feel like I always had to show that to my guests so they understand.
I'm obsessed.
Thank you. Hot priest is always, I even have my signed Vanya playbill hanging above.
Wow.
Yeah. Andrew Scott has always been a presence of this podcast, whether it be, no, it's always been Hot Priest, but now it's also Vanya.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Thanks.
It's
Okay,
okay. They have it in National Theater Live. You can just watch it online.
okay. See, so now I've got no excuse. I'm gonna have to do that.
Listen, I have yet to see Book of Mormon, and it's been on Broadway for 13 years. So, I mean, what's my excuse? I don't have one.
Um, so Rent.
Yes.
They announced that Rent was gonna be revived for its 20th anniversary in London, and I said I have to be in that musical. I have to play Mimi. It's like, I don't really have a dream role, but when I watched Rent was the first time
Because you
that
were 14 when you saw it, and you were like, I must do this.
yeah, I was.
Yeah.
My mum was, for some reason, my mum doesn't really go to see lots of musicals, but she had seen the original London cast and she'd kept the program.
Oh, wow.
When it came out as a film, she bought me the DVD and she was like, "You need to watch this musical." Um, and I watched it. And when I saw Rosario Dawson play Mimi, I thought, that is me. Like this is not legit musical theatre singing. This isn't rock. This is like a mixture of rock pop
Hmm.
that is so the singing that I love.
Hmm.
The music is so pop. The way she's acting is just so, I just watched it and thought, oh my God, I so saw myself in on screen in a musical for the first time. And I was like, my God, I maybe I have I could do that
Yeah.
very first time. And I love musical theatre, but I'd never seen myself in musical theatre until Rent. So when I knew it was coming, I was like, I have to play Mimi. Like that's the first time I ever saw myself in a musical theatre. Um, and the director, Bruce Guthrie, um, usually in musical theatre auditions, you walk in and you sing your standard song. You might move on to the text of the piece, any songs that you've prepared. But in this case, this was one of the first musical theatre auditions that I had where Bruce was sat down and there was a chair in the middle of the room, and he said, just sit down. I just want to talk to you about rent. And I was like, oh, I'm ready. Like anything you want to ask me about rent. And he was like, when did you first experience it? And I told him this story of me seeing myself in this show at 14 and then being obsessed with it ever since, and how incredible, Jonathan Larson's story was, and just the whole idea of the musical being about no day but today and about love and acceptance. And I just was like going off like a super fan.
Mm.
I left the room, and I think he was convinced like that's going to be my Mimi. Then I did the dance call, and I was shocking. I was shocking. I absolutely hammed it up. It was horrific. It was just the worst. And I didn't hear back from them for like 4 weeks. I thought,
Oh, wow.
I've not got that. That's such a shame. And then I got an email through from the casting director, Will Burton, and he said, you know, are you still interested in Rent? And if you are, could you tape for Joanne? And I was like, wow, Joanne, okay, taped. And then within a day, I was sent the offer. And I
Wow.
was like, what? This wasn't the role that I expected to play in the show. But my God, Joanne, I just loved it so much. And
Yeah.
sing Take Me or Leave Me, like, I
Yeah.
just, it wasn't what I expected, but it was just so much more even.
Mhm.
Um, and just to be part of that show with that cast was something I'll treasure forever. It was one of the most amazing theatrical experiences of my life.
Yeah. I
Loved
don't know
it.
if you know about this, but New York now has something called the Museum of Broadway.
I've heard of I think I've seen this on like Instagram.
Yeah, so they do have a rent section, but when you walk in, immediately to your right behind plexiglass is a bunch of vinyl records. And
Okay.
those vinyl records belong to Jonathan Larson.
Oh my
And they
gosh.
were donated to the museum and they're on display. And they're like all of these different records of like all these different shows that inspired him. So I know Lacage is there. I don't want to like say the wrong ones. I know, I think Into the Woods. I sometimes, the merch company I have does the gift shop there. So sometimes I do work there and I just like stare at the Great Comet chandeliers. Um, but yeah, so Jonathan Larson's vinyl records are there. And like I said, they do have a little rent section in the museum as well.
It's just so
Yeah.
amazing. I watched the documentary on his life, and I have not cried like that for, there's only very rare occasions I've sobbed like that.
Yeah.
Um, and then when Tick Tick Boom came out, I think the Tick Tick Boom came out in lockdown with Andrew Garfield. I'm sure it was like,
I know it's Netflix. I know it's November. I know I've only watched the movie once because it's such a great movie. And I'm just kind of like, is there anything Lin-Manuel Miranda can't do? But like the movie, I just feel like it's such a special thing that I don't want to like watch it again to like ruin it for myself. I mean,
yeah,
I've seen the clips and stuff of them singing the songs, but I'm like, I don't think I can sit through it again. And,
from
like,
it was a good experience,
yeah,
and I know I loved it, and I sobbed, and I thought
yeah,
it was so beautifully done. But I feel the same.
yeah.
Like
Let me
maybe
say
I don't want
something controversial. He should have won the Oscar for it. I said it.
100%. Who did win that? See now we.
That was the year of the Will Smith slap. So that was the year Will Smith won. Granted, I did not see the movie that he was in, so I don't know if he deserved the Oscar or not, but I think Edge Garfield just should have won because I thought he was amazing in Tick Tick Boom, and I just think he's a great actor.
He's a fantastic, fantastic actor, and I wish I'd seen him in Angels in America when it was at the NT. But again, I can watch it on NT Live.
Yeah, I saw it NT Live when they aired it on in movies, and then I saw Angels in America twice.
Wow.
And the second time I saw it, I ran into somebody I knew and we stage doored. And I got to tell him that when I was in college, I worked at this theater that no longer exists at my college, and they sometimes did the Tribeca Film Festival. And they aired this movie of his called Boy A, which was like his first big movie. And he won like the Orange BAFTA for it. And I've known of who this person is since this movie. And when they announced him as Spider-Man, I literally said to myself, oh, it's that guy from Boy A. So like when you go to a stage door and you're like a famous person, and then somebody's like, "Oh, I've always wanted to tell you this," you're a little like, "Oh boy." But I said, I've always wanted to like when I met you, I've always wanted to let you know I've been a fan of yours since I saw the movie Boy A. And he was like, "Oh my God." Because like who knows what that movie is?
I don't know the movie. I'm sure it was amazing, but
Yeah.
it sometimes it's lovely to know that you've had, people have supported you from way back.
Yeah. Like before Superman.
Yeah,
Hence why I was like, "Oh, it's that guy from Boy A." And I even like remember like sitting Googling him, like, oh my God, he played Romeo? That's amazing. Yeah. Just like again, nerd. So you did Ren. I just want to like break down some of the things that you've done. Let's see. We talked about Thriller Live, which we can talk about more because you do get to sing one of my favorite Michael Jackson songs, or you did, which was The Way You Make Me Feel. And I always think of the movie Center Stage.
I've not seen this.
Oh
What's
my
Center
God. Okay,
Stage?
Shanae, let's have conversation. It's a dance film. So it's about these students who go to the American Ballet like dance school, and it's about these ballet dancers. It's from like 20 years ago. Like ABT, like alumni are in it. It's so Nicholas Heitner directed it
Right.
and Susan Stroman choreographed. I'm just like dropping names, acting like you know who they are. But I feel like you would know who Nicholas Heitner is because you're based in the UK. He's a director. He directed like the History Boys. He's done like a lot of stuff with National Theater.
Don't. But then I am notoriously bad with names.
You know what? I'm here for it and I love it. And we're going to continue. Anyway, just watch it. They played the song in one of the ballet dances at the end, and it's so good.
It's iconic.
Yes. And especially, I mean, I'm not a dancer. I don't want to say you're clearly not because of your Mimi audition, but
I'm
uh,
a I'm a mover. That's what
yeah. I interviewed somebody the other day who's like a dancer, and I'm like, I can't dance, but I'm like doing moves in my chair. And she's like, yeah, you got some Michael Bennett moves going on. I was like, don't tease me with these things.
I'm a mover.
I can move. I can't do like choreographed dance, but I can like break it
Come
down. Yeah, what's it? Come on, you want to dance? I'm so happy nobody's seeing us do right now.
on.
For those listening, we were just dancing. It's fine. It's all good. So, Thriller Live, was that just, and I apologize that I don't know what like a lot of these things are because again, I'm based in New York, but Thriller Live, I'm just assuming it was just like a bunch of Michael Jackson songs and you guys performed them and somebody was dancing up on you during that show,
It was
during
like
that song.
full on concert and in celebration. And it started off as a fan celebration for MJ, and
Mm,
it became really massive on the West End. And it ran for a long time. I think it was something like 11 years.
yeah.
Um, it was just, if you loved MJ, you would just, I mean, I loved performing those songs,
Mhm.
particularly that song because the woman takes center stage, where usually it's Michael. It's like, instead of it being the other way around, it was like, me on stage, me kind of commanding the whole.
Yeah, you had like five guys trying to get your attention or something.
It's like, no, no, she's like she's standing in her own power. And I love that. I was 21 when I did that show.
Wow.
And yeah, that I just, yeah, it's Michael Jackson. I mean, the audiences were incredible, and it was just fun.
Yeah.
Every night it was fun
Yeah.
to
That's also like what I love about MJ is that you sometimes have people or like kids who dress up in like Michael Jackson regalia or like will show up in like sequins or like full on Michael Jackson, more so kids full on Michael Jackson gear. But you'll also have like some adults who will wear like some sort of piece or like homage. to
Mm.
Michael Jackson. And I love it. And I also see that at Hamilton too. I love when the people dress up. It's not an all the time thing, but I just love that so much.
Oh, I love like I think it is just the most beautiful thing that, I'm here all the way here for the cosplay, for
Yeah.
anything that feels, how exciting is it? I get excited when I go to anything to do with Disney.
Yeah.
Best believe that I'm wearing all the merchandise or I'm wearing something that is a hint to the character or the place that I'm in. Like I love Disney bounding. And, when I went to watch Beetlejuice last year, I definitely wore all stripes. It's just I just love that so much. You're so connected to it that you want to
Yeah.
express that through the
Yeah.
way you dress and your style. And I'm all the way here for that.
Yeah. Beetlejuice is coming back to Broadway for a few weeks.
I know how exciting.
I think it's the tour cast, actually. And I think it's in a very random theater, but I think it'll do well because Beetlejuice, it's so funny to me too. And I don't know if it's the same thing with the West End, but these shows just slowly start to get a cult following.
Yeah. I mean, Beetlejuice is like Tim Burton. I think it's the cult's there. The cult's coming.
Yeah. But then the musical itself has like this whole different, then you have like the musical theater fan cult following, which is like a totally different thing. And I will say that I saw the musical Heathers a few weeks ago, and again, not to age myself, I saw the original production that they did like 10 years ago. And I
Wow.
also did merch there sometimes. And then it closed. And I was actually working at Broadway Con doing merch. And then I saw all these teenagers dressed as Heathers. And I said to them, or at least I said to one of them, I said, I have to ask, there are so many of you dressed up as Heathers. And I need to know how how your generation became so obsessed with it. And they said it was because of the bootleg. And then it had such a huge thing in London, and
Oh,
it was on the West End, and like they redid it. And now that production is here in New York again. But I will say, having also seen the movie, and I'm younger than the movie, I think. I want to say, yes. But I know that there's some famous lines that are in the movie that people, when they saw it 10 years ago, would have reacted more to when my friends and I saw it. And then when you have like fuck me gently like a chainsaw or like lick it up, lick it all up, you think it would get a bigger reaction than it did. And
yeah.
I think it's because of the musical cult fandom. And I don't mean that in a negative way. Anybody listening, like I saw Spring Awakening many times. Let's be real. That was like my generation's like current, like The Outsiders is like a huge thing. Like my generation had Spring Awakening, this generation has The Outsiders. So it's,
And Heather's, because
yeah, and Heather's.
I
Yeah.
mean, Heather's is Paul Taylor Mills does such a great job
Mhm.
seeing that and going, okay, I'm going to do something with that. And I only applaud him because the fact that he has, I mean, the show is in so many different countries.
Yeah.
It's been filmed, it's been aired in cinemas.
Yeah.
It's in New York right now. Its reputation in London is just it precedes itself.
Yeah.
And at Musical Con, the corn nuts, they are out and they are proud, and it is just so amazing.
Yeah.
Heather's is a big, big thing,
Yeah.
and I totally get it. And when I watched it, I was like, "This is amazing."
Yeah, and they even when they announced the two leads for Heather's here in New York, I was like, this is correct. This is I know I keep saying like, yeah, that's correct. But it's just like like this casting that they have for Veronica and JD is like this is perfect casting. And I like watching them in the show is like, yep, I even bought the crop top. The crop says mythic bitch. And I was like, this feels right to me.
I want that.
I'm sure you can order it online. I don't know if they ship to the UK, but when you come to New York, when we do our holiday swap, you'll go see Heather's.
Yeah, I'd love to watch it again.
Yeah. It was so I loved every bit of it. I just had the best, and they even had pre-show music of like all 80s music. My friends and I were jamming out. It was great.
Very cool. It's just the songs. I mean, there's some real when you think about the songs in that show. There's some
Yeah.
incredible.
Yeah. And what's so interesting too is I somehow stumbled upon there's this concert venue in New York called Joe's Pub, and they had these like currently now well-known Broadway performers like Jeremy Jordan and Annalee Ashford. It's okay. I'm just name dropping, and I don't know if you know who they are.
I know who Jeremy Jordan is. I think
Yeah.
he did send a few
Yeah.
performances.
I think
Yes.
he did Bonnie and Clyde, right?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Which I loved and I saw two or three times on Broadway. I don't remember. Um, but they did like a concert version of Heathers. And this was
Okay.
like before it was so it was like Annalee Ashford as Veronica, Jeremy Jordan as JD. Like, yeah, I think it like clips live somewhere on YouTube. So if you're listening, I like how I'm looking directly at the camera, like it's a person. If you're listening and you want to find it, I'm sure it's somewhere on YouTube. Now that we've been nerding out about so many different things, there's a few other shows I want to talk about with you. Get Up, Stand Up, the Bob Marley musical.
Yeah. Amazing.
Now, this is your first time playing a real person.
Yes. Yeah.
So, what was that experience like? And this is also a brand new musical. So, what
Yeah.
was it like bringing that to life? And that was in the West End, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah. I don't know my West End theaters that well, so I apologize if I'm like, was that in the West End? So if I ask, that's the only reason why.
No, yeah, that was a full circle moment for me because it was actually in the Lyric Theatre, which is where I did my very first West End show, which was Thriller Live. So it
Yeah,
was,
so I'm because it was like the Lyric and then Lyric Theater. That's
yeah,
what I was like, is that the same?
is that the thing?
Because I was just looking at your credits and it said Lyric Theater, the Lyric. It's like, are those two different? But okay, I
It was
digress.
the Lyric Theatre or the
Yeah.
Lyric.
You have a
But
Lyric Theater in New York.
oh, okay,
Yeah.
I'm gonna have to do that.
Yeah. I think that's where Harry Potter and the Cursed Child is.
Oh, amazing. Oh, that's not coming out for a long time, I think.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Do you know of the production in the UK? Is it still two parts?
Yes, yeah, I think
Is
it's two parts.
yeah, they changed. I was lucky enough to see the original cast. Again, anything with Jamie Parker, I was like Jamie Parker coming back to New York, I'm here. Because I don't know if you know of the play The History Boys.
Yes.
Yeah, I saw that production on Broadway like 10 times. So I have followed like everyone's career from the History Boys. So, and Jamie Parker was my favorite in the show.
Okay.
Yeah, if that makes sense. I am very sad that I did miss him in Next to Normal, but I watched it on PBS.
Mhm.
So, anyway, getting back to you, getting
Um,
back to Get
yeah,
Up, Stand Up, the Bob Marley musical.
yeah. That was it was such an honor to be able to star in something that was about my culture
Mhm.
uh, and my heritage and that was just the first and big point about that show. And it was just, I described it not long ago as it was just black excellence. It was just, it had Clint Dyer as the director, Arinze Kene as Bob, Gabriella Brooks as Rita. I mean, it just had all these incredible people associated to the production that I had wanted to work with for a long time, um, that were just top of their game in terms of
Yeah,
work that they were creating, particularly Clint, who went on, artistic director of the National Theatre. Um, and yeah, it was just one of these things that was, it just came really randomly, but was just such an amazing piece of work to be invited to do. And Cindy Breakspear um, was is a kind of complicated character culturally, in terms of Bob Marley's story and his life story. And when you are, again, when you're approaching playing a real human being who is still living and breathing,
yeah,
you just want to delve into everything about them. And I reached out really early on, when I knew I had got the role. And luckily, she got straight back to me. And before you knew it, there was a FaceTime set up, and she really, we still talk now. And she's such a amazing human being, and she's so kind of, we kind of have a mother-daughter relationship. She's just so protective and just lovely. She's so generous with her time, and the stories of her time with Bob and her life. I mean, I know so much about her now. I kind of want her to have her own musical or her own play. She's such an incredible woman, what she
Well,
achieved.
I'm just saying that you do produce stuff, so I'm sure you can make that happen.
Yeah, let's go. It's true. But yeah, it was a privilege to be part of the show. Um, and again, it was challenging in so many ways, because we'd just finished lockdown. Um, just come out of lockdown, like finished it like we had a choice, but we just come out of lockdown. Theatre was getting back on its feet,
Mhm.
and it was the first thing I did after that really traumatic time that everyone went through, globally. And for the theatre industry, it was a really important time.
Yeah.
Theatres were packed night after night watching that show. I mean, people love Bob, and it was done in such a real, it wasn't a kind of what's it called, a tribute. It was a beautiful tribute to him, but it wasn't a tribute. It
Yeah.
got to the nitty gritty of Bob's life,
Yeah.
um, and what Jamaica is, and what Jamaica means, and what it is to be um, mixed race, what it is to have, one white parent and one black parent, and belong to a community. It approached so many really important topics of colorism and race and and all the things that Bob kind of stood for, which was love and freedom and and equality and unity. And it was such a powerful thing to do after lockdown, particularly after you know we had spent a lot of time. I know that I was highly triggered, as what was the world, watching all of the things that were happening with the Black Lives Matter movement, and then to come out and go straight into that musical, which was about Black Power. It was really felt very, very important. And I know a lot of people in the production felt very, very strongly about the reasons why they were choosing to be part of that show at that time.
Yeah. Was it a limited run?
No, it ran for just over a year,
Okay.
and it was due to do a tour, and I hope it can still do a tour.
Yeah.
It was very, very, it was a successful musical. It did really well, and and houses were full. And I think that it's just, I'm not actually sure the reason for the closure, but I know that a lot of people wanted to see it again, and want it to come back, and if not to come back, to definitely tour.
I'm sure it will. I mean, we're going to talk about it, but the Bodyguard is still
Oh my gosh, the bodyguard
running.
is still going. Go
So
on.
for let's talk Bodyguard now because, and please don't take this the wrong way. I was trying to figure out like, were you ensemble and understudied Rachel, or were you Rachel? Like, what was it? Because I don't know, and I know you performed as Rachel, and I even have a question mark. I'm like, understudy or actual role? 'Cause I don't know.
I understudied Heather Headley, who originated the role. Yeah.
Excuse me. Let's have a conversation about Heather Headley. I'm gonna get my mug ready. I saw her in Aida.
Oh my gosh.
I don't want to say I'm obsessed with her, but I love her. She can sing the phone book. There was my old roommate years ago went to some sort of like benefit, and apparently Heather Headley sang What I Did for Love.
Oh,
And she said it was the most incredible thing. I saw her in Into the Woods. Again, I keep name dropping City Center. I mean, anyway, and then like watching videos of her in The Bodyguard. Oh yeah, I also saw in The Color Purple.
oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
Let's talk about and not like how was that for you? I'm sorry that I just like fangirled over Heather Headley, but that's allowed. What was that like for you to understudy that?
It was a fangirl I mean, I've
And ironically, the original Nala in The Lion King, and you were so close to that part.
I just was in awe of her. And
Hmm.
I think I was 23. And again, the story of me getting that job is hysterical. But I managed to get myself in there. I said, I'm going to be in this show. It's Whitney Houston.
Hmm.
And, I grew up teaching myself to sing, listening to Whitney and Mariah. I have to be in this show. I know I can sing. One thing I know is I can sing Whitney Houston well. So, they have to see me for it. And I got the job. And I actually don't even think there was a position left for me in the show. They just gave me the job, and I think I started off and I was second understudy. So everyone was like, "You're never gonna go on,"
Hmm.
and I performed it once, and I was swapped, so I became the first understudy, and I did get to go on quite a few times. But to watch her, I always say this, I used to come down the side of the stage and wait in the wings and watch her sing I Will Always Love You every night. And that is really where I watched someone who I would watch in awe and think, what she's doing there is goes beyond what I thought could happen on stage. She's taken a very well known pop song, if not the most well known ballad of all time,
Hmm.
I've Always Loved You, and she is acting it in a way that it was unbelievable. She wasn't just singing this song, you were listening to every single word and you were listening to it in accordance of what she just spent the last 2.5 hours doing.
Yeah.
And I just she was just she just presented, and I actually sent her a message when just after I opened Nancy, and I sent her a message on Instagram and said, I just want you to know that watching you at 23 is what has given me the ability to open this show as its leading lady on the West End, watching you open Bodyguard, because you did it with such grace, such focus, such artistry. Just watching her was better than any lesson I could have learned in a classroom. Watching her on the job, watching her think about how she was going to approach this, you know, tackle a role that Whitney Houston had
Yeah.
done to such great acclaim
Hmm.
on stage for the first time. And I remember a story about it where she she told me that she read the script, and there were lots of cuss words in the script, because if you remember the film, there are lots of real cuss words in the film. um and I like cussing, but and I kind of love it in the film. It's the first time you
That
come
Amy Winehouse in you were saying earlier.
out, but you just got to see, like, Whitney Houston say the F word on
Yeah.
screen. For the time it was like shocking. But she read the script and she said, I'm not kind of happy to do this with these words in, and she took all the cuss words out. And then it became her job to get the same intention behind the text, but without the cuss word, which I think is a really challenging thing to do. She did it, and she did it with such. I mean, it was a masterclass being on that show, watching her.
Yeah.
Honestly,
And what a
honestly,
training too, because you said that you learn on the job. So how lucky are you that you get like Queen Heather Headley as like your unintentional teacher and without her even like realizing it.
wow. And she did it all. She did it all. I think she had quite a long period where she had taken a break, and she did it whilst her son was, I think he was like 2 or 3,
Wow.
and in London. And I mean, yeah, you just were like, a
Yeah.
woman in this industry, that's someone, you're aspiring to.
Yeah. And truthfully, I actually always thought like when it was first on the West End with her, I really thought it was going to come to Broadway. And I think a lot of people thought that too, and it just never did.
Yeah, oh my gosh, I think that was, I think that kind of was the hope. That's what I believe probably would have would have happened. I'm not sure why it didn't, but
Yeah.
we're lucky enough to see her in it in that first adaptation of the show. Yeah, it was just spectacular. It
Yeah.
was
And what was it like for you going on for the first time in that role?
yes,
Perfect.
so absolutely. I kind of I think I was in a bit of a hypnosis throughout the whole thing, where you just don't you have an out of body experience, you don't really come to terms with what you're doing until you get home and you think about what just happened. Um, because you're singing I think it's like 24 Whitney songs. It's just, and I mean they're not easy sings. They are like some of the most challenging songs to perform. So how she was doing it night after night, I do not know, but how I felt after doing it, I was so proud, but
Yeah.
just like just a blur.
So I'd love to also talk about your production of Miss Saigon because it was also, I think, one of the first productions to have a female engineer.
Oh my gosh,
It's
yeah.
pretty cool. Do you want to, how did that, and that's also Cameron McIntosh,
Well, it
or
was
was, I think like he's known for Miss Saigon, so maybe not your production, but
it was by I think they call it like a special.
mm,
Uh, it was like an agreement that
mm,
he allowed Sheffield Crucible to have the rights to mount the production.
yeah.
Um, Rob Hasty, Anthony Lau had a vision for the show um, that they put out like a kind of a open letter
Hmm.
about the reasons why they wanted to approach the work, and I remember reading that letter and thinking, wow, you know, my gosh, that's just if you don't want to do that as an actor, then what do you want to do? You don't want to take on the challenge of of approaching a musical masterpiece,
Yeah.
but addressing all of the huge issues also that come with that piece. Um, and yeah, it was an experience again of a lifetime. Everyone on that production approached it with such a different view. I mean, you're trying to reimagine something that's so firmly fixed in people's minds.
Yeah.
Uh, and Jo is a tour de force. I mean, watching her approach the engineer as a woman,
Hmm.
it was. I think again, theatre is one of those beautiful things. If you are lucky to see it at that moment in time, you will always talk about it, and
Yeah.
some, and then it's gone.
Yeah.
And that's the beauty of it that you experienced it for 3 hours, 2.5 hours, and that experience lives with you somewhere. But it's for no one else. It's just your piece of magic, and that's what you take away. And I feel like anyone who got to watch her do that, particularly if they were a fan of the show anyway, um, but the whole thing, I mean everything about it, the whole entire cast and production and creative team was magnificent. But there was something watching a woman approach that role. Oh my god, it was like I always remember in the SITS probe, I watched her do If You Want to Die in Bed, and there was such a desperation to what she brought to the text, and truthfulness and honesty that just is so different. The approach was so beautiful. Oh my gosh, making me cry when I think about it. But she is one of these great artists that I just think anything she touches is just magical to watch. She has this real dedication to the work that she's doing, that she just tells the truth,
Yeah.
and it's just incredible to watch, particularly with you know the music of Claude Michel Schomburg and Alain Babille. It was just absolutely epic.
Yeah. So I'd love to talk to you about Musical Con. And you were telling me earlier it's similar to Broadway con that we have in New York, but it's more like Comic Con.
Yeah.
How did Musical Con come about? How did the idea come to you? How did you get it started? Let's just start at the very beginning.
Yeah, so me and my husband started a an idea called West End Musical Brunch, and it's like an immersive brunch, and we get down West End stars, and it's all about the concept of the audience becoming the cast. So, I'm not from a traditional theatre background.
Mhm.
I'm not, I am from, very humble beginnings, and we couldn't go afford to go to the theatre, and I really like the idea that theatre's for everyone.
Mhm.
Um, and I know that so many people love musicals, but they don't actually even know. But when you listen to a whole playlist of musicals, most people know every single word and most people know every single song. So we wanted to create that experience in London, and that is now coming up to being 9 years old.
Oh,
So
wow.
that plan every Saturday for 9 years.
Wow.
Um,
So if
uh,
people want to get or go to the West End brunch,
yeah, West End Musical
oh,
Brunch.
what's the music? How does one get to go about it? If they want to get involved or be a part of it or come to it?
Follow us on Instagram at Western Musical Brunch or visit www.westernmusicalbrunch.co.uk and you can grab tickets. We sell out probably about 5 weeks in advance, I would say. It's a super popular thing, um, but it's just something we're really proud of. Uh, and so this was going on, and this had become an unexpected success.
Hmm.
And my little brother has autism, and he had asked me to attend my first convention with him, which was the Star Wars convention at the Excel Centre. And he was cosplaying at the time. And I was really nervous leading up to the event because in social settings, he can become very anxious and nervous. And I did not know what to expect, particularly when he said that this convention had sold out the entirety of the XL, which is approximate to like 250,000 people
Wow.
across the weekend. I mean, this is a huge, huge thing. Um, and I didn't know what to expect. And I dressed up as Chewbacca,
As one
Melchizedek,
does.
as one just does, and I was like all in. I love Star Wars as well, but I'd never been to a convention, and we got off the plane, off the plane, yeah, the train, and the tube, and we were walking up to the XL, and a group of people stopped us, and I instantly became very protective and said, wow, you're dressed as Lando to my brother. Like, can we stop? Can we have a picture? And I just thought, oh gosh, we're not even in there. And I just didn't know how he was going to respond because usually that would make him very anxious and that he'd want to go home. And I really want him to experience in this convention. And he just embodied Lando. He just got his cape and he held it up and he posed for this picture like Lando. And I stood back and thought, oh my gosh, you are so empowered by this. Like this, you in cosplay is just making you feel so confident and so sure and safe. And then we went to this convention and he stopped and spoke to all these people that he'd never met and people coming up to him and asking for pictures. And he felt confident enough to go and ask them for pictures and get autographs. And I just watched my little brother just totally feel safe and oh my god, it was the most amazing thing. And I thought there must be so many people in musical theatre that feel like Joelle when they're at home and kind of feel like maybe that they have an online community but not a community in person, and maybe they don't feel brave enough to wear their Heather's outfits, to the shop, or but they could wear it to a convention that was for them and built for them, and they could feel empowered and safe coming to a convention where you get to just geek out and nerd out and express yourself fully without the fear of being judged or without the fear of someone approaching you not to tease but to be like, oh my gosh, you're the cookie seller from Beetlejuice, that's so cool, or just whatever. And that, once I got that in my mind, I just wanted to do it so much. And I was shocked that there had never been anything like it in the West End. But when we did it, I mean, when I set my mind to something, I set my whole mind to it, and we did it. Me and my husband pulled off this event, and that first year was unbelievable. It was just the community of fans and theatre lovers just came out in full force, and they were willing it to be as good as it was, and it was just. I mean, the energy at MusicalCon is unlike anything. It's like the most joyous thing, and they describe it as their home and as their safe place and the place where they belong, and it just has this such a beautiful, joyous kind of atmosphere. It's just the best place, and Broadway Con had the same feeling. Um, of just acceptance and just everyone geeking out, nerding out, and being massive theatre kids and
Yeah,
nerds
yeah.
together.
Yeah,
Um,
like I said, I love when people dress up in costumes. So when I was working at Broadway Con, I loved, and I took some photos too of people with, of course, their permission. And my favorite was there was this like young, like teenage, probably college age couple, and they were dressed up as the Melchior and Venla from the Deaf West production of Spring Awakening. And they were like, nobody has gotten our costume, so thank you for knowing what it was.
did you see? It's
Yeah,
just magic.
yeah. And my favorite costume I have ever seen was I used to concierge in hotels, and one of the hotels I worked at was the Hilton, New York, which is the biggest Hilton in the country. And that's where they started doing Broadway Con. And there was King Kong on Broadway for a bit of time. And so one of the best costume I've ever seen was somebody was dressed up in an inflatable gorilla costume. And then to the side of them had people in all black and sunglasses holding the gorilla with ropes. So the costume was the King Kong puppet and the handlers from the musical. I don't think I got a photo of it, but it was probably the best costume I've ever seen. So much so that years later, I'm still talking about it.
Very cool.
Yeah.
The creativity of people just really, it, you know, it, it's it's sensational. I think when we came to Broadway Con, which was like, I feel like it was January 2020, and I think it was at the Hilton.
Yeah.
Um,
We
there
probably
was,
crossed paths, but never even
yeah,
knew at the
it was
time. I was at the theater and sightseeing desk. No big deal.
so. But yeah, there was Ursula, and my jaw was on the floor. I couldn't believe that someone had the talent and the skill and the patience
Yeah.
to dedicate so much time to creating this wonderful costume. I mean, it's just totally inspires me,
Mhm.
and it's just a beautiful, beautiful art form. I just love it very, very much.
You know
And
what's going to happen now? Whomever is listening to this podcast is going to be like, I'm going to show Shanae at next musical con. I'm going to like do it. It doesn't have to be Ursula, but it could
no,
be one of like their favorite musical people. And they are going to like do it up just for you to be like, see, us UK people can do it as well.
oh yeah, listen, the UK cosplayers, they bring the heat.
Yeah.
There's just, I mean, there was someone that created Scar in the
Wow.
last year, and honestly, it looked like they had walked into the Lyceum dressing rooms, taken it out, borrowed it for the day, and then they were going to return it
Do you guys
because
have a costume contest? Because I think Broadway Con does.
yeah, we have the cosplay competition, and it's yeah, it's my favorite thing. I just absolutely love it.
Yeah.
Love.
Again, I love when people I love a costume piece. It's just it's my favorite. And people's interpretations of costumes as well. Like there's somebody I saw, it was a male Glinda one year I saw.
Amazing.
I have a photo of it somewhere. I ended up meeting them like years later at a friend's birthday, and I was like, "Wait, I think I have a photo of you from a Broadway con." And it turns out it was them. It was hilarious. Yeah. But so let's talk about Musical Con. When's the next one? How can people get involved? How can they get tickets? What can they expect? Musical Con it up. Tell me all about it.
Musical Con, the next time it's happening is, I mean, we're in the thick of it right now. We're on the lead up. So the next time it happens is at the XL London on the 18th and 19th of October.
So
Um,
that's coming
yeah,
up,
it's right here. Like
like a
we,
little over a month away.
yeah, ooh, that makes me feel
Oh,
physically.
no, sorry. It's you have time. You have time. I don't know what's happening. Sorry, I'm just like doing my hair and there's like a piece sticking up. Who's looking? Anyway, go ahead.
But yeah, so we do it next month in October. Very, very excited. We are just about to make a huge announcement. So by the time this podcast comes out, people will know which star guests we have attending, as well as the programming. So yeah, we've got some really cool cast reunions. They're one of my favorite things to organize,
Yeah.
to anticipate, you know, what cast you wish you'd seen
Yeah.
and can get them to reunite in some way. So that's happening. And yeah, I'm always excited. It is so stressful. It's such a huge thing to plan, but it's just so worth it. The people make it so, so worth it.
Yeah. And I'm sure that a lot of the performers who have been there or are going there are just as excited to participate in it as well.
Yeah, they're the best, and the artists that I mean, they're so committed. Their time, you know, organizing their workshops, their masterclasses. There are lots of that at Musical Con, but also the panel talks, and being able to speak so freely and openly about your experience, and you know, with no, you know, so candidly. Musical Con is about being as open as you want to be. It's not censored, or you know, it's all about your real experience,
Yeah.
you know, working in this medium. And it's just such a beautiful thing. It's something that I'm the most proud of.
Yeah. Well, I do agree with the being the most honest because, and I noticed that especially with my podcast, it's because, and that's also kind of why I wanted to start it and bring different people on, because everybody's experience within the industry, no matter what part of the industry you're in, whether you're a producer or, hair and makeup, a performer, a writer, everyone's experience is different.
Yeah,
And like for you, like you said, you didn't have, you trained on the job and you had, your master class watching Heather Headley, in the Bodyguard. So, that's different from someone who like went to RADA or something. So, and the industry, I know more so about New York than I do UK, but I'm sure it's similar where it has like its ebbs and flows of working and not working and then auditioning and or getting close to a part or things changing and what have you. And so I love how you're saying that these panels are real and they're raw and people who want to know what it's really like, they have the opportunity to do so at MusicalCon whilst in their cosplay.
yeah, perfect.
Yeah. Hold on, I have to cough again. Excuse me.
No
So
problem.
what are you like? What do you want so with Musical Con and West End Musical Theater Brunch, am I saying it? I feel like I keep saying it wrong.
It's a musical branch.
Okay.
Perfect.
I wrote it down because I want to look into it. Because I'm like, oh, maybe next time I'm in London, whenever that is. Oh, during the holidays when we do our swap.
Yeah.
Um, but what do you see it getting bigger? Like, is there more you want to do with either one of these? Or, I mean, you don't have to share what the idea is, but do you have like any other ideas to kind of like put out in the world, kind of in relation with connecting the audience to theater?
Yeah. I mean, Musical Con is kind of like the it's the biggest event that we produce and that we run, and I think it's about what our kind of mission is that, you know, everything that I love about theatre is about connection,
Hmm.
and so the more connected we can create an experience for an audience to be, I think the more brilliant the experience is for the audience. So there are lots of things that we have. We have done lots of. We've produced concerts, like we've produced Bat Boy at the Palladium. And I'm really interested in immersive theatre, but I'm interested in maybe going one step further, where it really does feel like the audience are part of the production and not just the bystanders.
I'm
And
just gonna like put it out there. They do have Masquerade happening in New York, which is the immersive Phantom.
oh
And
my,
I have not seen it because tickets are ridiculously expensive, but my mother and older sister saw it, and one of my best friends saw it, and she says it's the most incredible thing she's ever been a part of. And I did watch someone's video and they ruined the whole thing because, again, I can't afford to go, but it is an immersive experience.
yeah, I love this.
It's like throwing that little, I know Phantom is still on the West End, but just like throwing that little seed, little nugget in there for you.
Yeah, that kind of thing just it's exciting, but
Yeah.
also to do it in a way that's as accessible as possible. You
Yeah.
know, I know that theatre is expensive, the running costs are expensive,
Mhm.
production, you need to raise a hell of a lot of money to even think about putting something on Broadway, uh, or West End, let alone Broadway. But
Well, that's always a conversation. Sorry to cut you about the accessibility of theater, especially in New York, because when I, again, not to keeping like when I was in London, I befriended this person who's American and she was living in London and now she's back in America. And she's saying that theater is so much more expensive in New York than it is in London.
yeah,
Yeah.
when we visited, I was like, wow, woo,
Yeah.
yeah. Tickets are expensive in London as well, but sometimes you can grab like £30,
Mhm.
£25 sometimes,
Yeah. Well,
on
I
Broadway.
went to see when I was there, I saw the play A Little Life.
Yeah,
And
yes,
yeah, and I was like, these are expensive tickets, like expensive for me. And then I saw it again. I don't know. I was like, I just need to see the show again. And I ended up seeing it in a much better seat. And I like was able to snag a ticket that was expensive, but wasn't as expensive as it was originally.
yeah, perfect. So you felt like you got a bit of a deal.
Yeah. I mean, it was like over £100, but it was still cheaper than what it would have been.
Yeah,
But also theater pricing in New York, depending on the show or who is in the show. I'm sure, I don't know if it's like made it across the pond, but when Denzel Washington was doing Othello in New York, they had
mhm.
tickets going for like $1,000,
Yeah, that doesn't surprise me.
which is insane. And I don't know what it's like in the UK. Like I know Ewan McGregor just did a show there. My friend who doesn't live in the UK, bought tickets and purposely did a trip to see her husband's family slash go to London to see that. But I don't know what theater pricing is like when you have a big name like that there.
Um, I don't think it's ever. I've never seen tickets reach £1,000. I mean,
Yeah.
I might be wrong. Someone might be listening to this and be like, "No, it is." But I know that like if it reaches 300, £350, then that's a very, very expensive ticket.
Yeah, that's like average pricing now for like a premium price ticket for a show. And I'm just like, I want tickets for The Outsiders for tonight. That's $49. Thank goodness. Like I'm
Mhm.
seeing a show. They had this play in London called Punch, and
Yeah,
now they're doing it in New York. So I'm seeing that in 2 weeks. Or actually, no, like next week. But and I got that for like 50 something bucks. But even Russian lottery tickets from when I was in college to now have gone up like $20, which
yeah,
is crazy.
yeah. But so has everything, and that's I suppose that's the
The accessibility part of it.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Sorry that we just rambled. So yes, making theater more accessible is a big thing. But is there anything else? And so you're talking about doing reunion. What were we talking about? You did Bat Boy at the Palladium, which they're actually doing here. Again, bringing up City Center again. I don't know why I keep bringing that up with you.
Yeah, I'd love to watch it. I love Bat Boy.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I just would like to see. I think that there are other ways to make theatre that aren't confined
Mhm.
in a theatre.
Yeah, we've talked immersive. So, do you have any dream roles or projects? I know you mentioned like you don't really have dream roles, but I have to ask it anyway.
Um, no, I there are roles that I watch and I listen to and have as a little girl that I'm like, oh, that's so cool. But there's no real, I have to play that and I will play that. What I've found is that actually what I like doing the most is approaching work like most of the work I've been lucky enough to do, really, which is either reimagining a
Hmm.
role or a show or originating a role in a show. And I love to approach that with the space to be able to artistically put Shanae into that character. That is what I find the most exciting. And so I always say that my dream role, I probably don't know what it is because it might not have been written yet.
Yeah.
But what I would love to do is originate something very exciting or something that I've produced myself that is going to be artistically fulfilling. And so, no, there's not really a dream role. I don't think that I can think of. There are roles that I think are amazing. Like I have this, I have this love for the sound of music that I again watch every Christmas. I love the idea of Maria, um, and I think that that whole musical could be approached in a very different way than it's ever been.
Yeah.
Um, there are things like that that I think, oh, that would be cool or that would be interesting, but no. And I often think the more I think of something or that I want to do something, the opposite happens in a strange way. Like I would never have imagined myself playing Ellen in Miss Saigon, um, but I did, and I loved it. And I loved that was the first time I sang legit in a musical really like that, and I sung that way, and my voice is very different to the Bodyguard, let's say, in that musical, and that was such a challenge,
Yeah.
as was Nancy singing more in a more legit place. And yeah, I just want to do something. I suppose the dream role is something not that I can't even think of at this moment, but it's there, and I'm very excited for that, whatever possibility that is, whatever that manifests itself as.
Do you have any top going theater going experiences?
Yes. Um, I'd say one of my top experiences in theatre was when I came to Broadway in 2020, and Hadestown had been at the National Theatre, and I hadn't really heard much about it, and I didn't go and watch it. And we were in the cab on the way from the airport to the hotel, and I kept on seeing these billboards like 7, 8 Tonys or whatever it was.
Hmm.
And I thought, my gosh, that was in London. I didn't hear a peep about it. I said, we're gonna have to go watch it because when it was in London,
Hmm.
I hadn't heard anything, and it's come to Broadway now. It's got all these awards. Let's go watch it. I could not speak after I saw the original cast of that.
Yeah.
I came out, and my husband tried to speak to me about it. I was like, what do you think? I said, I need a moment to process that. And then I became obsessed with the cast album, and that's what I listened to throughout the whole of lockdown. And I I I have never seen a synergy of costume, lighting design, direction, songwriting, acting. Every part of the production was in such harmony and marriage. It was just like watching something spiritual happen, and it took me out. I could not honestly speak after it. And I I when the original cast came back to London, I said I have to see it again because there's a magic between everyone on that stage that I've never ever seen before, with the storytelling and their investment in these characters that they have originated and built. That's just It's breathtaking. So there, that's my like wow, you
Yeah.
know.
They actually filmed it too.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Oh.
yeah.
No, now,
I've watched it 1,000 times.
yeah. I hate every time you're talking, and I'm like, I feel like she would be good for this show. She has to look into this show because Rachel Chafkin directed one of my all-time favorite musicals, Natasha Pierre and the Great Comet of 1812. And I know that they also did it at the Chocolate Factory, I think. And it's a
I'll
very
need that.
different production that they did there compared to the original. So, but I'm like, she can do that show.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. I'm also very good at casting, so you're welcome. It's like casting you in shows. I'm like, she's going to be in Great Comet. She's going to be in Ragtime. It's going to be
Cute.
great. We're going to manifest these things for you.
Please.
Yes. So anything else, or is just like Hadestown, bye. That's it.
Hadestown was for me
Yeah.
the hands down the most singular, most uh, spiritual theatrical experience I've ever. I was levitated out of my seat.
Yeah.
I think Andre de Shields is an entity. I think he's a god.
Yeah. He also had a beautiful Tony speech as well when he's like, when you're on the top of one mountain, it's just the bottom of another.
Oh my gosh,
Yeah.
just
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah,
they're bringing the Jellicle Cats musical to Broadway, and he was in it off Broadway. So hopefully he's coming back.
yeah. Please, I'll be over to watch him.
Yeah. Okay. So we're going to do the Inside the Actor Studio questions now. Are you ready?
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay. What is your favorite word? You can say it. It's fine.
Fuck.
Okay. I thought you were about to say bollocks because you have like double T's now. Like, say it. Say it. Okay. So listen, honestly, I don't remember who it was, but that was someone else's favorite word, or like it was another cuss word. So we're fine.
I love it.
What is your least favorite word?
Why?
What turns you on?
Kindness.
What turns you off?
Cutlery hitting the side of plates.
Okay, I think we know the answer to this one, but what is your favorite curse word?
Fuck.
What sound or noise do you love?
Ah, the rain.
What sound or noise do you hate?
Cutlery hitting the side of plates.
You hate it and it also turns you off, so don't do it around Shanae.
The pre-dinner before the
Yeah.
thing.
She will like hate the sound and you will turn her off as a human. Like, don't do it. Okay.
Okay.
What profession other than yours would you like to attempt?
Event organizer, which I kind of am, which I love.
As I said, I can see that. What profession would you not like to do?
Hmm. Oh, I don't know. Police.
And finally, if heaven exists, what would you like to hear God say when you arrive at the pearly gates?
You're safe.
Shanae, it has been such a delight having you on. Is there anything before we end, like anything you want to share? Any thoughts, questions? Like, what do you want to put out in the world? What do you want people to know? Like, this is your moment. I mean, it's been your moment the entire time, but like, this is like an even more Shanae moment.
Honestly, thank you so much for having me. I've had a blast.
Thank you. I had to say, like, I'm sitting here, I'm like, she's a button and I love her.
And you. I really hope we meet in person.
Yeah, listen, we follow each other on the gram. We can chat.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yes, if you're okay, again, we're putting it out there. If you people want to do West End musical brunch, if they want to do musical con again. Okay, we're back. Sorry, we had a moment. Anyway, as I was like going crazy, if you want to do West End musical, I know you already mentioned it, but we're at the end of the pod, so people don't have to go back and listen, but they can if they want to, because this was a fun conversation and I enjoyed it.
Me too. I've
Yeah.
loved it.
Yeah, and you can honestly come back anytime. If there's anything you want to promote, like you have my info. Be like, Allison, I want to come on and talk about this. And I'll be like, absolutely, yes. It's going to be great. We're going to be friends. I say that, but we're going to switch apartments during the
Yeah.
holidays. We're going to do the holiday switch.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm totally down.
Yeah. I mean, you already found your Jack Black. I'm still looking for my Jude Law.
We'll find him.
Yeah, thank you. Anyway, so West End Musical Brunch, and then, and again, in a little over a month
Yeah.
for MusicalCon. If people want to go to these things, where can they find out information about it?
Yeah, West End Musical Brunch. You can book tickets on www.westendmusicalbrunch.co.uk. MusicalCon is the same, www.musicalcon.co.uk, and that happens on the 18th and 19th of October.
Yes. And by the time this episode comes out, like you said, the people will be announced. I'm not asking who it is because we're gonna let the people find that out before they listen to this. Anyway, Shanae, thank you so much for coming on. It was such a delight talking to you. You are a gem.
Oh, thank you.
You're wonderful. You can say on once we're done recording, everybody listening, check out Shanae. Just like go on her Instagram, Google her, check out Musical Con, West End Musical Brunch, you know?
Thank you. You're
Yeah,
amazing, and this podcast is incredible. So thank you so much for having me. I've loved it.
of course. Thank you so much for coming on and thank you all for listening.